Hello world, it's me, Daniel, the guy who can't get his lighting right no matter what state he's in. I'm back in Iowa now, and I'll get to that later, but while I was back home in New Jersey in my last vlog, I said this. I'm so glad to be home. I've already done and will continue to do so many fun things with my friends while I'm here. Well, this is the story of one of those fun things.
Hello world, it's me, Daniel, and I'm on my way to ConnectiCon 2017! Yeah.
Yes, it's time for ConnectiCon once again, a multi-genre convention held during the first weekend after the 4th of July in Hartford, Connecticut. This event is certainly not the only reason I come home to the Northeast, but it's why I come home when I do. Of course, we have to get there first. It's a 2-hour drive, and I'm in the back seat with nothing to do but... And that's all I can show you of that, because YouTube's paranoia about copyright lawsuits means that they will not only block material themselves, but also let freakish little ad rev bots fly around their site trolling for material indiscriminately and with wild abandon. God forbid I actually provide free advertising by giving credit to artists and record labels in the description and showing footage of myself actually enjoying their material. I miss logic. Oh yeah, who's flying this thing?
Oh, hi Mark.
Anyway, how is your sex life?
Want to introduce yourselves? I'm James, I'm the driver. Thank you, James. You'll get a tip later. Woo!
I'm Patrick. No, this is the crusty.
So yeah, I'm here with my friends James and Andrew, and
We're your friends?
No, this is the Krusty Krab.
this is par for the course. James the cabbie, and Andrew the DJ for now.
Wicka, wicka, wicka.
Of course, when you're grooving to music and mugging to camera, sometimes you get distracted.
So James, why'd we take the wrong exit?
Because I'm a dumbass.
At least the scenery's nice, except when it's not.
I don't think anybody ever said, well, let's go to Hartford for the scenery.
These islands in the middle of the highway, I always want to romp through them and see what's in there. Probably deer, ticks, and plenty, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Eventually, we arrived in Hartford.
The convention center's over there.
Oh, yeah.
We don't get to pass the convention center because James screwed up.
We just like 3 lane changes in a row because we got Tweedledum and Tweedle Dipshit at the helm.
This one?
Yeah, that one.
He's the one who's actually driving.
Uh-huh. You were the one who was saying, no, I think you want that one. No, I think you want this one.
It's easy to criticize from the back seat.
And here we are at the hotel. It's Courtyard Marriott in Windsor. Andrew went in to see if we're on the right side of the building. Christ, James. How many bags do you have?
I have a lot of small bags. Is this it?
I really don't know. Like, I really...
Give it a shot.
I forgot. I'm afraid to. You do. Wrong.
Nope.
That one. And here we are. I'm just dragging my thing in. This room actually really reminds me, like, this is the exact same kind of room.
We had 2 years ago, right?
Well, and we also had it, like, the first time we came here. I do remember, like, me, Matt, and Robbie got here really late, and we started dancing around to Feeling Alright by Joe Cocker. Because we do that.
Upon our arrival, we took a bit of a rest, except for James, who started his workout routine until Andrew fucked around with a voice app and...
Oh, God, that's something I don't want to hear in prison.
I couldn't hold it together.
Jesus Christ.
Then we watched some Todd in the Shadows, a web critic of pop music who's attended this con in the past. We always come prepared with a laptop and an HDMI cable for viewing internet videos and DVDs on our hotel TV. It's creators like Todd that got me interested in web video in the first place, also appealing to my love of comedic analytical critique. Anyway, then we searched for food on Google and stumbled upon a place called Roberto's. We have a few places we pretty consistently go to for meals on this trip, but something tells me Roberto's is going to be the newest piece of this 5-year-old tradition. We then went to Price Chopper, as we have done before, to stock up on provisions, so here's some footage of that.
Are you like Togan sorority girl drives?
Oh, yeah.
Although I shouldn't say that out loud because that's Robbie's car.
Well, his sister is.
Robbie's a token sorority girl.
Yeah. They're so stubborn. that they couldn't bother to reverse the beat. So many snackage.
Yeah, seriously.
Cheese
It's
doodles.
a really good variety of snacks.
Indeed. So, for some reason, they always separate the chips from the crackers,
Oh, the pretzels are down here.
and I am probably going for Cheez-Its. Popcorn! Cheez-Its. Oh, the variety. Oh boy, how can I possibly choose? They look so
Look at one
good.
and you pick it.
Screw you. You may be right. I may be crazy. Hey, but it just might be a lunatic you're looking for. You know, I have a feeling that Matt will partake if I get the family size, because this Cheez-Its are for our family.
Yeah, except Matt will probably eat all of them.
Yeah, really.
He is the family.
That's why we're getting the plastic bags, which we need to find somewhere.
Yeah.
We got raspberry, we got mixed berry. I'm gonna go with mixed berry. It's all because of you. It wouldn't happen any other way. Really right. I may be crazy. So the snack bags are probably those tiny little doobers, huh?
Yeah. I would go with something
Yeah.
in the medium range.
Like quart.
One package will be enough for all of us. We have a lot of bags.
15? Yeah, that's actually exactly enough. 5 for 3 days.
Yeah.
Perfect. Anything else Yeah, Andrew was...
Because we didn't.
I have here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man, okay, walk faster, because there's yodels, and I shouldn't be looking at the yodels. The yodels make me have naughty thoughts.
Jesus.
Okay. Ooh, damn it, the oatmeal cream... I can't.
Here's a tip for life. I hope everybody one day finds a group of friends with whom grocery shopping is this much goddamn fun. We then went back to the hotel for a few episodes of Ed, Edd and Eddy and Jimmy Neutron. As a friend group, we're pretty much always in the mood for watching childhood cartoons, but this trip really brings it out of us in full force. The reason's no secret. In the past, special guests at this con have included voice actors from Animaniacs, Legend of Korra, Futurama, Adventure Time. Even Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob himself, was here last year. My nostalgic side is pretty ever-present, and I'm glad to have friends who can share that with me. Which leads us, of course, to the fort.
I want the front to be covered so I can hide.
Oh, I see.
At least like right here.
Well, you need to have a way to aim and stuff.
Yeah, I can just pull this to the side right here.
Okay.
Are you recording this?
Yes, I told him to. We need to. This isn't
I'm going to.
We need to record this for our children. They need to know that they are going to be exactly as stupid and childish as we are.
Why are you videotaping me?
Because you're an idiot.
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing anything.
Idiots make great videos.
I'm a ghost.
They're gonna walk in and be like, what the fuck is going on?
This is the coolest thing ever! This is so great!
There is probably not enough room for 5 people down here, but...
No, but it's gonna be fun. This is so stupid.
It's beautiful.
And here's where you enter.
All right, Andrew, give him a tour there.
Can't give them a tour, you're not coming in here.
Oh yeah, I am.
Okay, here's the entrance, and here's the whole thing, and I'm already stuck.
So, as you can see, we have a sophisticated way of holding up the centerpiece of the tent there with our nifty office chair, and there's a cushion balanced on the arm of the chair to make it extra high on that side because it was sagging. And so then we have this spacious little couch area.
Higher!
And we're idiots is the last part of that sentence. Here you will see our most recent renovation to the house fort is our new closed-in patio here, and you can either go into the flap here or you can come around to this entrance and go in, and there's an Andrew. Hi, Andrew. And then you can come around here and you can actually go under this curtain here, and there's a little entrance for a little person. And there's Andrew's buttocks. Zoom in on the buttocks.
So stupid. You have no idea how happy this makes me. And then we decided, what good is a fort without a treacherous plot?
You should act surprised too.
Yeah,
You should act like it came out of nowhere.
So basically what's going to happen is when Matt and Robbie get here, they have no idea that we did this, and so what's going to happen is I'm going to go out there and vlog meeting up with them, and then I'm going to lead them back to the room because they don't have room keys yet. And so then what's going to happen is this is going to happen, and I'm going to videotape their response to it.
You're umming a lot, Jeff Goldblum.
And once I document their response to it, you know what happens then? Checkmate.
Chaos.
Okay, here we go. Matt and Robbie have no idea what we've done in the room, and I am going to meet them right outside this door. Hey,
Oh.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
You want to introduce yourselves a little bit?
I'm tired. I'm also tired.
Oh, nice to meet you guys.
So is this the part where the monster comes out of the ground and we all start running and hiding?
Close.
Get out! Is this the part where we get shot by Nerf guns as soon as we come in?
Nah. We couldn't get them by security. All right, and welcome to the room here. And
Wow, that is a
Oh my goodness.
setup.
I see you.
Oh my god.
What do you see this? You guys made a fort without me?
God.
we finally did it.
So that's what you guys did
You
all day.
finally really did it!
So,
Their password? Is this actually...
oh yeah,
It's Fort Squidward.
oh yeah, entrez-vous. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So it doesn't necessarily maybe fit 5 people all under it, but yeah.
That's fine. I will be sleeping here.
Not if I sleep here first.
I kind of can't believe you guys did this without us.
I kind of can believe it.
You
The architect and Andrew is the engineer.
basically. Oh, and here's the best part. Hey guys, welcome to Candid Camera. Hi.
I'm here.
Did this make your drive worth it?
I mean, it was gonna be worth it no matter what. This is... I'm almost, like, too tired to handle how cool this is. I can't even... This is, like...
That is the-
I did this shit when I was much younger.
That is the most awesome answer I could have ever hoped for, Matt. Thank
What,
you.
that
You
I
made
was
my
too
night.
tired to...
Yeah.
So is somebody actually going to sleep on that?
No.
Because that
No.
seems like...
We can always rebuild it tomorrow.
I have slept in a pillow fort before.
We
But
can always,
look dangerous.
we can always just rebuild it tomorw.
yeah, which is probably what will happen. And we'll probably make it bigger
Yeah.
because it's us. Before we were doing the fort, we were watching Jimmy Neutron.
Oh, what the...
No. We saved the best episodes for you. I
And
promise.
we watched him edit and Eddie too.
But we made sure not to watch too much so that we wouldn't be sick of it when you guys came.
After another few Jimmy Neutron episodes, we all went to bed. The next morning, I woke up, took a shower, got dressed in one of my favorite geeky shirts, and we drove to the center in the rain. The Hartford Convention Center is a big place where big companies have big trade shows and stuff. But for one weekend a year...
We have reached the outer boundary of the Kingdom of Geeks. We are welcome.
Full-on friendship!
And now we're ready to do shit.
We had a few minutes before our first panel, so we went to check out all the merchandise, foreshadowing things to come. And then we went to our first panel, hosted by the dude we really started coming to see all those years ago. Doug Walker, aka that guy with the glasses, aka the Nostalgia Critic. He runs a company called Channel Awesome, of which Todd in the Shadows is indeed a member. I grew up with and was basically introduced to YouTube movie making by this guy, and now I get to see him, not his character, he himself, live and in color, every year, talking about movies and comedy and all sorts of cool stuff. By the way, get used to these shots framed by anime wigs, there's going to be a lot of them. Then we went to our next panel, which we were a little early for, so there we sat, goofing off like usual.
If that's my camera, then what am I shooting with? I'm kidding, it's not my camera. Yeah.
I felt free to goof off because when we go to con, we have a very democratic process of creating a detailed itinerary of panels and events we want to go to. We don't all go to every single one of the panels, but we make a plan. It's really great, but I also sometimes wonder, If I can do this so well, why can I never organize myself during a frickin' school year? And then I remember that my school stuff, in my mind, has dire consequences for failure. If we miss a panel here, we hang out being friends and then we go to the next one. If I miss a class, I miss material, and then I fail at being a student, which is the only thing I've ever been good at, and then no one will like me or think I'm useful ever again, and then my soul will die. See, this is why I never enjoy organizing things like that. All this I'm fine with. If I can work at fun so well, the question becomes, how do I make my work fun again? Anywho, this panel was about creating comedy in stories while still focusing on character development. I got to ask a question at the end about creating humor within a dark atmosphere in a story I'm working on without ruining the mood. I love having the opportunity to ask questions of people who have been in my position before, wondering how to do shit right, or at least well, and waiting for someone, anyone, to be able to provide any applicable advice. It reminds me that conventions like this are, as the Vlogbrothers would appreciate, really about stories. The oral tradition of instruction in such arts as storytelling and other sorts of entertainment, and of course, the oral tradition of those stories in and of themselves. We then had some spare time again, so we all kind of roamed separately through the merch hall, also known as the dealer's room, and the adjoining games room, which also had a bunch of empty autograph stations, and the cafeteria that we early on learned to avoid. As I roamed, it occurred to me that this place had become a well-traveled area for us, one we have learned about and learned from over the years. It is a hunting ground for geeky pleasures, and for the first time, after years of stalking my prey, I finally came back with a successful capture. After 4 years of not cosplaying, and therefore being the minority at this kind of convention, I had concocted a fantasy that my friends and I would one day enter the dealer's room with nothing but cash, and then assemble full costumes, piecewise, as we went around the place. Not necessarily designed for recognizable characters, but designed to make characters out of ourselves. I'm in love with this concept of making my inner superhero visible to outsiders through judicious use of costumery. The rest of my group decided not to partake this year, but I decided with some help that my time had come. And from a company called Superhuman Streetwear of Volante Design Incorporated, I purchased this fine Assassin's Creed style long coat, a garment so cool that my thriftier friend Matt couldn't help but at least try it on. The reason I never cosplay is because I never seem to know where the line is supposed to be when it comes to embodying the character I'm portraying. It becomes a heavy responsibility, or at least a very nerve-wracking process, to determine whether cosplaying means putting on a costume and feeling badass because I look badass, or going a few extra miles to method act as my character. Hell, I've seen people in costume challenge other people dressed as their character's opponents to duels from across the dealer's room. I feel that somehow, if I don the look of a character, but don't offer a performance of that character according to the expectations of those around me who also have an attachment to that character, I've somehow lost credibility as a geek, which is one of the only other things besides scholarship that I've been successful at finding to define me as a person. I guess I mention all this now because I was finally able this year to put that all into perspective for myself. Anyway, our next panel featured a bunch of writers talking about the business, after which we decided to go to dinner at one of our old standbys on this trip, Ted's Montana Grill, right across the street, where we can eat our fill of any American fare with the added twist of bison meat. I'm not huge into exotic meats, but I love this place. It's got atmosphere and big old portions. Afterwards, we waited online at the Spotlight Theater, practically next door, at which the Nostalgia Critic team and friends were going to be performing an improv show. I was skeptical at first, since improv shows can be kind of hit or miss, but, oh look, a new friend.
I'm actually a vlogger. Do you want me?
Oh, sure. Hello.
Our new friend, Marlise.
Nice to meet you. People on your blog.
Yeah, there are like 10 people who watch, and
Hello.
these are 5 of them. So.
Well, hello, 10 people who watch.
Hi.
Should I say something? I don't know, fun fact about animals?
Sure.
Okay then, fun fact. Never feed your cat Tylenol, because it will literally kill them. Like any dosage. Also, cows do not, in fact, have 4 stomachs. They have a 4-chambered stomach, but not 4 stomachs. If anyone tells you that a cow has 4 stomachs, they are lying, and you should tell them that they are lying and wrong.
Cud for thought.
And after a few minor technical difficulties,
It's all part of the show.
Oh my god.
Seizure included. Don't use this one in my hand. This'll be mine.
Oh my goodness. That sounded like Armageddon.
the improv show began. You know how I said they can be hit or miss? Well, as soon as I saw the cast, and as soon as they said they would be playing games from Whose Line Is It Anyway, I knew we had a hit on our hands. Here's some highlights.
The scenes are in this head that you have all filled out for us, and just when we have an idea, we're gonna step out and we're gonna say it. I'll say this, but I don't forget kid much out of it. I eat bear testicles for breakfast. Okay.
Oh bother.
Still better than anything I've had at Denny's.
Hey, boo-boo, if you want to live here with me. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
This.
Eat a bear's testicles.
Hey, boo-boo, if you want to... That's how a bear became the mascot.
Resurrect demo reel.
My best friend is the chosen one.
No, stop, please. I have the high ground.
Heading down the Oregon Trail. Again?
I'm eating bear testicles.
Portland was worth it.
What if your dad started mowing the lawn wearing a two-piece bikini?
I'm out of here.
No one else really?
Leopard print is for Tuesday, Dad. You know this.
We're all imagining our dads in a two-piece bikini and just getting grossed out, Doug, okay?
I'm imagining your dad in a two-piece too.
We're all imagining Barney in a two-piece.
Hey, boo-boo, if you want to...
I love that my yoga gets creepier every time. We can barely bear this bear.
It's gonna come out one time and boom.
It's longer than the average bear.
Someone turned into a lemon.
But you always been a limitless lemon.
Hey, I'm what life gave you. What are you gonna do? Alright, this might be the most amazing sentence I've ever read. A bar stool gains the ability to speak, but is racist. Make America great again.
I would say something about it, but it's a bar stool from the 60s, so I can't even go in the bar to sit on it.
Yes, the Creek, world's worst.
Place that girl.
World's worst. I'm standing right here.
I'm ready to record my voice.
That's the offensive thing today.
Oh, hi, Sebastian.
Misa here to ruin your franchise.
Are you an angel?
World's worst.
Yes, you, sir.
World's worst.
Are you an angel? Luke, you must understand that some things are only true from a certain point of view. I work for the White House.
What you do with it that counts.
I see your Schwartz is a speaker's mouth.
I don't like sand.
World War III counselor.
Grief counselor?
Get over it! Jesus!
No, Charlie Brown, it's not that good.
What do you mean you can't afford the next session? You could afford the funeral.
God.
Not enough about you.
Sitting next to the red wig with your hand up, sir. Yep, you. Yes, you, the confused one, who are making direct eye contact.
Postman!
Sorry.
Postman?
Yeah.
God bless.
It's for you.
Bill. Cash.
Yeah.
Janitor. What's worse, janitor?
World's worst janitor. All right.
It's gross.
I don't know how many of you are gonna get this, but. Well, if you watch 2020, then.
I wanted to be a star.
Poor. All my life, I've always been poor. Asking God what I'm for, and He tells me you're not sure.
Well, time to start waxing the floors.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. You with the gray hair. No, not you. No, yeah.
World's worst baby.
Hi, I'm Donald Trump.
Not the mama! Alright, Puppy power!
Are you there in the glasses? Yes.
World first movie critic.
Then we made our way back to the car and back to the hotel. 'Twas very late, and we had to get up early the next morning, and... Oh yeah, I did mention cosplay, right? Yep, that's Team Skull, all right. Right in our hotel room. Those black bandanas came in a 10-pack, so Matt and I had some fun with them a few days before. We call Matt's character Yolanda. Before we headed into the con, we went to our favorite brunch spot for the weekend. Basically, a few blocks from our hotel, there's a Dunkin' Donuts where we used to get breakfast for con all the time, until we realized there's a perfectly fine deli next door. A place with food and chairs and... standards. On the way to the con, I got to be the DJ. I've been into Glitch Mob's Drink the Sea album recently. And once we parked, our three Poke Posers got into costume. We saw a lot of great group costumes there that worked really well, but my friends got the moves to go with their style. Walked around the dealer's room some more, encountered my Dungeon Master friend Jordan's dream come true.
Jordan, all the dice. Look at them all. I wish you were here, but I bet you wish you were here more.
And went to a Channel Awesome Q&A before consulting with our schedule and venturing out to forage for something to eat besides our pre-packed snacks. Sometimes when we go on this trip, there happens to be a local fair that coincides with ConnectiCon weekend, which provides a pleasant, spontaneous distraction from our weekend-long, meticulously planned distraction. It's connected to the convention center by a walkway which spans over the streets of Hartford, making for some okay scenery. And look, I have to be a nerd fighter by now, right? My video blog includes a historical placard of Abraham Lincoln and footage of me eating a corn dog. We all made our way back to the con, but alas, we had reached the point in the weekend which I dread the most. It reminds my geeky brain of what Starfire and Teen Titans called the Wreckmoz, or the drifting, when friends drift apart. But really, like in the show, it's just the point in the weekend where we all start to get on each other's nerves a little bit. Or at the very least, it's the point where I start to get a bit cagey from not having any time to myself for a while. It's hard for an introvert to constantly be around people, even if they are close, fun, trusted friends, and yet it always feels just as weird to me to strike out on my own for a while to recharge. I mean, it makes sense. Most of us have been around each other for 48 hours at this point, about 8 times longer than we usually spend together at a time, without as much sleep as we'd like to boot. So we go our separate ways for a bit and try to regain some composure, but it always feels to me like I shouldn't be needing to do this. I mean, summer is for having fun with friends, time is limited, but we all need this time to be away from each other, and I rarely have fun during that time. For a half hour out of my weekend, I feel shitty toward all other people on the planet, then I feel shitty for feeling so shitty, and then I feel shitty for feeling sorry for myself. And then I just have to get on with my day in order to get my head out from up my own ass. After we reconvened, some of us went to a panel about voice acting, one of my myriad interests, and then on to a panel called Gaining Your Foothold on YouTube, hosted by Cornshack, in which I attempted to gather advice on how to do, well, this. I did take extensive notes, so that's good news for all of you out there who think I suck. The last panel on Saturday is one we always have to get there early for, except this year they had an hour-long not panel beforehand so that people could trickle into the room rather than waiting on a mile-long line. This event consists of a bunch of the con's special guests playing a game of Cards Against Humanity, and it's usually hilarious because members of both Channel Awesome and Team 4-Star of Dragon Ball Z Abridged fame usually host and play. But Team 4-Star was hosting their own panel at that time this year, so our hope was that Channel Awesome would play, but it turned out to be the NerdFit Network who was hosting. They had some events this weekend that we ended up not attending, so I had wanted to get to see them at some point. They're based out of Boston, so I was intrigued. But, yeah, they weren't all that funny. Like, at all. So we went to dinner. This meal is usually one of the highlights of the weekend for me, because for 3 years now, we've found our way at some point in the weekend to a place called Black-Eyed Sally's. It's this stylin' Cajun restaurant right in the middle of whitey-white uptight Hartford, where they have Cajun cuisine, kick-ass barbecue, and live music. Usually alternates between jazz and blues. Tonight, it was blues. Let me tell you, there is nothing better after a full day of con-going than stuffing yourself with quality brisket, red beans and rice and coleslaw made with care, and cornbread with honey butter as a free appetizer, while listening to fresh-off-the-stage blues music played by local musicians in a Cajun joint that somehow landed in New England.
Welcome to Dan's favorite place in the whole world, basically.
It's such a bizarre little sequence of events that had to occur in order to put us in this particular situation, which ends with us being so completely satisfied at the end of the day. Here's some video from last year, too. And yes, that is pure pleasure on my face. Thank you for noticing. After overcoming substantial inertia, believe me,
I'm fat and happy.
We went back to the hotel. Though we didn't have much energy for a renovated pillow fort, we did watch a few Nostalgia Critic episodes for good measure. Back to sleep and back again to the land of the living for one more day. That morning, James split off to eventually meet up with his girlfriend for lunch, while the rest of us got Dunkin' Donuts to our temporary shame.
As he finishes his Dunkin' Donuts, the first thing that crosses through his mind. Glad that's over.
And went back to the convention center for the last day of the con. We waited online, witnessing Doug's arrival, to sit through one of my favorite Channel Awesome panels that they host every year, Movies Everybody Disagrees With You On, in which the hosts and the guests take turns offering up their most embarrassing confessions of movies that everyone hates and they love, or vice versa. It reminded me of so many situations in which the way to ensure the freest speech and most productive debate is in fact by creating a safe space with regulations and standards of behavior, wherein everyone can agree not only to disagree, but on how to disagree in an appropriate manner. After that, we went to the Channel Awesome booth. I hopped on the autograph line to see in person the brothers Doug and Rob Walker, Barney Walker, their father, Jim J. Ross, the prop man, and actors Tamara Chambers and Malcolm Ray, along with Andre Meadows of Black Nerd Comedy at the booth right next door, with whom we had a fantastic discussion about comic book movies and online content creation. I've gotten Doug Walker's signature for several years in a row by now on various items, and some people in our group don't get why I still take the time to wait in line for their autographs, and for some other guests even pay to get them. This might be because I certainly do not seem like the autograph kind of person. I'm pretty down to earth most of the time, so much so that my friends were slightly unnerved that I would be taking myself out of the moment so often this weekend to vlog about it.
We were waiting
Are
for
you
you.
filming the whole thing?
No, I'm not playing. Yes,
Okay.
every moment. You are to take this into the bathroom every time you take a shit.
No, I go for autographs, not for the signature itself, which has become a kind of currency in the geek community, but for the opportunity to meet an artist. There are a limited number of times in this life where one has the chance to go up to a person they admire and not only strike up a small conversation with them for a moment, but to thank them for their work. It takes effort to produce and provide entertainment, no matter how effortless it looks or how readily and often greedily we consume it. I feel that we take it for granted at times, as it is so available. We often think entertainment is owed to us, feeling so unobliged to pay for it or even give open credit for it. But I always relish the opportunity to change that. For once, to drop the expectations I have about a product, to drop the preconceived notions I have about a person, and to just be there, in a moment, with some people I admire, for the work they did to provide me with a quality distraction, a pleasant escape from what is, at times, a tedious and unpleasant world. This is why fans of media take things so personally. To some, it's just a product to be consumed, but to us, we are witnessing such a pure form of effort, talent, and craft. It's such a gift to us that it is truly touching to finally meet someone who cared so much about their creation and about the pleasure that we derive from it. There was one more panel left that day, one which I insisted on attending. It was about perseverance in writing, a lesson which pertained not only to both Matt and myself personally in our hobbies, but to me professionally in my grad school endeavors. It did reassure me, without surprising me, that quite a few other guests in the crowd were in my boat as well. In fact, that may have been the day that Matt and I agreed to call each other periodically after I went back to Iowa, so that we might keep each other honest with progress on each of our writing projects. Matt and Robbie both joined me for that last panel, as it occurred to me that we don't do things, just the three of us, nearly as often anymore. In fact, the very activity of going to this con used to be something just the three of us did. We enjoy doing things with other friends, of course, and obviously for a long time I haven't wanted it any other way. But I do remember some very fun times with just those two people. They were the first of my late high school friend group that I had met and connected with, and my mind often works in terms of trios of friends, so it always felt natural when it was just the three of us hanging out. We clicked so well. Being a part of larger friend groups is something that I'm still mentally working out, truth be told. It's not my natural environment, much like this very populous convention. Sometimes, even though we're all doing stuff we're genuinely interested in, and it is indeed a miracle that we're all somewhat interested in these things, it occurs to my reflexive brain that it's too many people. I start getting the feeling that it's an illusion, that these people can't all be that similar to me, be invested in spending time with me. What these are the trials and tribulations of a person who has part of his identity based in solitude and exclusion, and certainly not originally by choice. It is this knee-jerk introversion that causes me to separate from the pack halfway through the weekend, and makes me long for the days when these passions of mine were just between a few friends, or even kept to myself. Some of these memories are still favorites of mine, but at the same time, I'm glad we're making new memories, all of us together, and sometimes more. If there's evidence of a God in my life, it's that we five people, having been and even being in some ways so different, so unlikely to encounter each other and get along, still maintain so strong a friendship through such a turbulent time of life, and continue to put in the work to strengthen that bond, time and time again, whenever we can. Such a splendid way to spend a summer, and such a wonderful rededication of our friendship. It's something that my younger self sadly never knew. It's a new and happy memory, one that's worth refreshing, every single time. Friends and fellow geeks, I'll see you there again in Hartford next year. World, I'll see you tomorrow.